The topic of negotiating and getting the deal when you're out talking to people selling items for you and you're out buying items. The topic of negotiating and pricing and purchasing those items is one of my favorite. And tonight we're going to talk about 3 aspects of that on The Crazy Picker Life with Wheeler, Dealer, and Banana Peeler. Welcome, fellow pickers and would-be adventurers. It is Dealer with The Crazy Picker Life. It's Tuesday edition. Tonight we're going to talk about negotiating and purchasing items. And it's one of my favorite subjects. I'm on my day off here. It's evening. I've just had supper. I'm all fueled up. I'm ready to talk. Now, this is, like I said, one of my favorite subjects. It really doesn't matter where you're buying items. There can be negotiation. Now, some people would say, well, I do retail arbitrage, or I buy things online to sell back online, or I go to auctions. There can still be negotiations in those places. I've negotiated in thrift stores. Typically, you'll have to talk to the manager, and typically you need to be buying a bunch of an item or closing out a section in the thrift store, or possibly some sort of bundling or other negotiation. Now, if you go to an auction, it's a little tougher. However, if you do your research ahead of time in an auction, and then the auction happens, and then either when the auction is done or when people are picking up their stuff, sometimes you can buy bundles or parts of what other people have purchased, and you can get the thing you wanted even though you didn't win the bid. For example, one time there was a big lot of beer stuff, including cans and some print advertising and some can openers, bottle openers, and a few signs, small signs, all in one lot. And there was one in there in particular that I wanted. And so I bid it a little bit, I bid it a little more, and then I hit my limit. Somebody won that. I happened to talk to them afterwards, and I said, hey, you know what? I like that one piece. Are you set on keeping that whole lot? And they were responsive, and they said, which piece did you want? And I pointed at them, and they said, no, didn't really need that one. I'll sell it to you for $2. And I was bidding all the way up to 20 for that lot just because I wanted that one piece. So auctions are not necessarily dead on negotiations. Also at auctions, a lot of times you can make contacts for down the road, and the auctioneers themselves a lot of times will have back stock, things that are not for sale at the auction. And so we've made contacts with auctioneers. You go see their stuff. That's a whole nother story, right? What else did I say? Retailer arbitrage. Well, any place that stuff is for sale, even Walmart or whatever, negotiations are possible. So not as likely, but yeah, that's a little better aspect. It was slumping. Still possible, but these are not the things I want to talk about. Here's the 3 things I want to talk about tonight. I'm going to keep it reasonably brief. If I can get the word out of my mouth, reasonably, still can't do it. Reasonably brief. Wow. I have to do some schoolwork yet tonight. I've got to do some planning on a vehicle that we're having some work done, and I need to relax a little bit tonight too. So, here's what I'm going to talk about. Getting the cash rolling in a deal. I don't know what I want to call that, but I'm going to call it number one, getting cash rolling in a deal. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about bundling. I think bundling is the ultimate leverage. I'm also going to talk about feeling out the seller. So let's just start right away with number one, getting the cash rolling. When I go into a rummage sale, when I go into an estate sale, when I go into somebody's booth at a swap meet or flea market, when I go into a store, when I go into a thrift store, when I go into a pawn store, pawn shop, when I go into a pick, like it's somebody that I met up with and I'm going to look at their stuff, one of the first things I do is I assess my competition. You know, who am I talking to here? Who am I working with? Who am I dealing with? That's one of the first things I do. The other thing is I get kind of a viewpoint of my area and what's for sale. I do a quick scan. At that point, I'm looking for things to buy. I'm looking for first grabs. I'm looking for something to pick up that I'm interested in, that I want to buy. And I think, depending on how I feel about the person that I'm dealing with or the situation that I'm dealing with, I want to get money rolling quickly. Some people that you deal with are time stressed. Some people that you're dealing with, they don't want to talk about nickels and dimes. They want you to buy something expensive. Some people that you're talking to are busy with other customers, so you need to get their attention. Some people that you're talking to don't know if you're for real. When I go into a situation, I'm not looking like I'm worth $1 million necessarily. They want to know that I have money with me. They're wondering about me. So really, when you're going into a situation, you don't need to rush anything. However, you need to judge the situation. And I think in most cases, if you can find something to negotiate on or purchase reasonably quickly, you will attract the type of attention from your seller that you're looking for. So I like to buy something or negotiate something reasonably quickly to get the seller's attention. I'll give you an example. When we go to the flea market, there's probably 100, 200 booths there that we could possibly look at. We probably will buy from 20 different booths out of the 100 or 200 there. And this seems to follow no matter what flea market we go to, as long as it's one that has a bunch of good used merchandise. We've been to some flea markets or swap meets where it's all sort of like the new cheap crap, and that's not what I'm talking about. Or one of these indoor ones where it's like the lifetime booths, and 95% of it again is new merchandise, not necessarily crap, but it's all the new stuff. I'm talking about the kind of flea market or swap meet where people show up once a month or once a week and they bring their stuff from storage units, rummage sales, pick and ways, whatever, right? So I'll walk into a booth, and a lot of times there's 2 or 3 people shopping in this section and booth, and the guy or the gal that's running the booth is kind of eyeballing everybody so that they don't rip anything off. They're looking people over to see if they have questions. They're looking people over and judging them to see if there's somebody that's going to buy. And they're just taking care of their own brain and movements and stuff like that. I go into one of these booths, my first thing is to take a glance and try to find out who is running the booth and see if I recognize them, first of all, because I do a lot of business at some of these places. Secondly, I want to tell if they're the person I don't want to deal with, because sometimes there are booths with people in them that I've dealt with a couple times, and I know that they're either eBay and flea market sellers, or they're just so hard-nosed you can't ever get a deal from them, or they're so grumpy. If there's something that really catches my eye from a distance, I'll still go and try to deal with those people. And then secondly, I'm looking around quickly. Is it all clothing? Is it all kids' toys? Is it all garbage? Is it the kind of stuff that I want to look at? And if it is, I will look at it. I will go and look at it, and then I will try to verbally engage the person. Okay? A lot of times, I'll already have said, hey, how's it going? How's the weather? How's your day? How are you feeling? You look good. I like your shoes. Nice booth. Beautiful day. How's your Schlitz? Whatever. I engage the seller with a greeting usually. Shortly after that, if I find something I like, I will grab that thing, look at it, and I'll say, how much? I'll say, what's this going for? I'll say, where did you get this? What do you know about this? That's part of warming them up, that whole thing. And I do it fairly naturally, and I enjoy it. It's not like it's forced. It's not like I'm playing them. It's not like it's canned. It's not like it's a joke. This is just natural. It feels natural, but it is part of the dance, right? So let's say they say $10. Well, I have choices after that, and my choices are to buy it, my choices are to negotiate, my choices are to put it back, my choices are many. And we'll talk a little bit about bundling, and we'll talk a little bit about feeling people out for prices. That's not what this first topic is about. Let's just say $10 is fair. And I look around, and there might not be a bunch more stuff there that I want to bundle in. Let's just say this might be the only piece. I don't know for sure yet. Let's say I don't know the person that's selling, but this piece that I see and have asked about for $10, that's a good one. I can make 30, 40, 50, 60, $100 on it, let's say. So I'm not even going to negotiate because I feel satisfied. I say, great. And I get them some money. That thing's mine. I might go back and put it in my shopping cart. Then I go back into the booth. Now I've got that person's attention. I have just shown them that I have a $20 bill. They gave me 10 back. I've got money. I strike quick. I like their stuff. I like them. I'm fun to deal with. I don't even haggle. And if I do, if I said, well, would you take 5? And they say yes, we're still buddies because I just exchanged money. If they said, well, no, I didn't hit them with a hammer. I said, all right. And I gave them the 10 and we're still buddies. But I got the money moving. Now I start digging deeper. I might say, do you have more of this type of item? And they might go to the back and start digging in their trailer and they might have more. Or they might say, no, but I have this. Or I'll start looking around and I notice, oh, here's another item that I like. And this one is even bigger, better, more expensive. And I'll say, how much is that? And they say, well, 50. But I know I can sell it for 100. Now I have leverage. I've exchanged money. I'm like 50, huh? All right. And I got a couple of choices. I can negotiate right there. I can keep looking and bundle something up. If I really like it, regardless, I'm going to grab the thing and walk around with it. And they're not going to be concerned about me running out of their booth because I've already bought something. They know I'm for real. But I'm not going to leave this thing sitting there because then somebody else comes along and grabs it, depending on how good it is. And then I might either buy that thing, negotiate on it, or bundle it with something else. It depends how much stuff I start finding. It depends how the thing is rolling. If they have $800 worth of stuff I want, I am prepared to buy it. So you might be in a different boat than I am in that case. Some people don't, have that kind of a buying mindset. My buying mindset is, if I run into something that is off the charts, I will attempt to secure that somehow, and I will go get the money. I'll figure out a way. But if your budget is $50 and you found the thing that's $50 and you negotiate it down to 40, obviously you're not going to be sitting there and trying to bundle a bunch of other stuff in. That's not a problem. I can't cover every scenario. I'm just telling you what I do. In this particular case, I bought something early, I made a friend, I'm in. And now I continue to look, ask questions, negotiate, bundle, walk away. We do that a lot. We do that in a lot of different scenarios. Now, if you walk into a rummage sale and none of it's your stuff, you don't just start bundling and spending money and trying to force the way into the back of the garage and say, where's the good stuff? You just walk away, right? But a technique that I use and Wheeler uses and we use successfully is break the ice, get some money moving. If it makes sense, if it's your stuff, it doesn't hurt to get the money rolling. You will gain a step in the right direction of finding more stuff with this particular booth or rummage sale or person. Subject number 2, bundling. One of my favorite things to do is bundling. Bundling, I call it the ultimate leverage. You can watch American Pickers with Frank and Mike. Frank loves to bundle. He loves to bundle because it's a smart move. As soon as you are buying more than one thing from a person, you have set yourself apart. A lot of people come into a sale or a booth or a store and they buy nothing. A lot of people come in and buy one thing. Not that many people buy 2 or 5 or 10 or all of a stack or all of the same thing or a bunch of things. You have set yourself apart. Once you start bundling, the prices typically come down. The barriers to getting a good deal typically come down. You have got your attention of the seller. The seller's attention is now going to be on you. They see you as the golden ticket to making their day profitable. Now, if somebody's really attached to their stuff, bundling will work too, but you need to be a little bit more strategic. I'm going to give you an example on that. This summer, we went on one of these highway sales where there's a whole bunch of different vendors. And on the first day, a couple of things can happen. On the first day of these type of sales, you can find the really good stuff. But on the first day of these sales, you can find the really good stuff priced really high, because the experienced sellers know that they have 4 more days to sell stuff, and they know that their best stuff is going to go on the first couple days, and it can go for a premium if they hold out a little bit. So we went to one of these sales, and it turns out that this gentleman had really good stuff. He had 3 or 4 cameras we wanted. He had a beer sign that I really wanted. He had a beer cooler that I really wanted. He had a couple other things that I really wanted. First indicator was he was not going to negotiate on prices. And so it took talking up and down and all around to get him to bundle a little bit. But I really liked his beer light. He had 125 on it. I was trying to get it for 100. He would not budge. I ended up selling it for $349 plus shipping. So I knew it was a good one. He had a couple of cameras. They were priced reasonable, but there was another one that Wheeler wanted that was not priced reasonable, so we tried to bundle those. He wouldn't budge much. I kept looking, I kept looking, I kept looking. I pulled up a couple of old skunky coolers, and I brought those to the table, and I said, all right, let's do a deal. And we had already, exchanged pleasantries. We had already tried to negotiate. We had already hit some roadblocks. I went to get those other coolers because I knew if I brought some more stuff up there, I had a better chance of bundling. And I already knew that I hit some roadblocks. Now his coolers were marked like $15 and $10, and I knew if I bought his old crappy coolers that he didn't see as being very valuable. Two things were going off in his mind. One, he didn't have to load those things in his truck when he went home, and he must have been thinking, oh, here's a sucker, because he wants to take my crappiest crap. Well, little did he know those two coolers were actually pretty good, and I don't know what I exactly paid for them because it was a bundle, but if I paid 15 and 10, I still doubled plus my money on both of them. So I wasn't losing, but I was after the beer light, the Busch beer light, which some of you have seen. I was after that, and I was after the cameras that Wheeler was after. And I think we bought a couple of other small things. So longer negotiation, longer story short, I bought all these things into the bundle, and we talked it back and forth a couple times and had a laugh. Ha 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 ha. But when it was all done, I think the price that would have been before negotiations was probably $300, and by the time we bundled and got out of there, I think we were in it for about $235, and that's $65 savings. That's about 20% off, and this guy was not going to go down on anything, and so we bought it for, say, $235. I'm pretty sure we probably sold everything for $600-700. This guy was a seasoned guy. He knew what he had. He liked what he had. His prices were okay, but the bundling aspect of it bought us lunch and bought me some gas, right? I would have gladly paid $300. I would not have walked away if he would not have changed his prices, but very friendly like, we bundled and saved some money. Now, I won't do a deal like that unless it's win-win. If he's getting grumpy, if he's, getting mad, if he just doesn't want to do it, I'm not going to sit there. I don't press. We'll talk a little bit about negotiating verbiage in another show. But the bundling aspect of it lowers people's guards. You can, if your deal is going to be $300, do you think it makes sense to buy a couple of $5 or $10 items to get to the bundle status? And then those $5 or $10 items aren't like home runs, but you still make money on them? Yes, they are. You just help that person out. You're just buying more than they think you're going to buy. And they love that. They will work with you. Okay. A couple other bundling techniques. A lot of times I will be after one item and I hit an impassable point in the negotiations. Let's just say it's a beer cooler, and let's just say it says Schlitz on the side and it's in good shape, and let's say the person wants $150 for it. So they want $150. I know I can sell it for $200 or more, but $150 is a little tight. I don't want to just make $50, not to mention fees, etc., etc., etc. So they won't sell it for under $150. I know I need to get a little better deal in order to make it work. I might be able to sell it for $250, okay, $300, who knows? But we hit a point where there is no going any further. Well, another bundling technique that I like to use is I like to say something like, well, let me look around a little bit. And I'll look around a little bit and I'll find some items that are $2, $5, $10, okay? They might not even be valued by the person. I'll bring a couple of things back and I'll say, you know what? I'll pay the $150 if you throw these in. And they're thinking, I don't want to lose the $150 sale. The $150 is the thing I want to sell the guy. I got that other stuff for next to nothing. In fact, somebody threw it into the deal with when I bought this thing. Sure, let's do the deal. Now, I'll give you the real example. I did this on a cooler, similar type cooler, and what I had them throw in was a Budweiser tablecloth, new in package, and some other beer-related item. Let me think. I think it was an inflatable fish. Bush beer inflatable 3-foot fish, new in package. Now, they threw that into the deal. I'm already going to make money on the cooler. I bought it for $150. I'm going to sell it for at least $200, $225, $250, $275, whatever. But the fish, I ended up selling that for $26.79 on sale plus shipping. And the Budweiser tablecloth was like $15 plus shipping. So there's an extra $30, $35 after expenses in my pocket. That thing made the deal. That bundle made the deal for me, and it wasn't a big deal for the other person. So whenever I get to a point like that, that's an impasse. You can't go past it, but you're not wanting to seal the deal. I'll push it a little bit. That's it. I will grab some other stuff. Hey, how about you throw that in? And sometimes they say no, and they have to laugh it off. And then I just, I hardly ever will walk away, but I'll find another way. We'll pick out another big item then, and instead of paying $150 and $150, I might pay $140 and $125, and we'll get the deal done that way. Now, not every deal goes dealer's way, but dealer is a dealer, and you can be too. Bundle technique works in the situation where everything's marked at a rummage sale and all the prices are high. You want to break somebody that's got high prices on stuff? Bundling is the ticket. Some people will go into a rummage sale and they'll be like, oh, the prices are high, and they will walk away. They'll be like, this guy or gal is crazy. Look at these prices. I'll go and I'll look at the prices and I'll go, are your prices set? And they're like, well, pretty set. What are you thinking? And I'll say, well, I like these 3 items. I like these 4 items. They're marked 25 each. These 4 are marked 25 each. How about all 4 of them for 75? How about all 4 of them for 60? All of a sudden, you might be the first person that talked seriously about those items all day because they have them marked up. This person, has to get the money out of them, but all of a sudden they're like, whoa, this person's going to help clean my garage. And you've just given them an excuse to give you a deal where other people would go up to them with one item and they're like, it's marked 25. Will you take 15? And they're like, no, I can't do that. And that person says, okay, and walks away. Well, I just got 15, but I bought 4 of them, right? Bundling, bundling. It'll set you apart. You are now on the same side as the seller. They want you to go away with a truck full, a trunk full, an arm full. They would love to be done with their sale. They would love to not put stuff back in their truck, back in their garage, back in their basement. Bundlers rule. Now you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're buying. You got to be prepared to buy the whole thing. You got to be prepared to go where you're going when you say, will ya bundle? Sometimes you get in over your head. I've bought so much on a couple occasions that I can barely fit it in my vehicle. But when I got it home and I had bent the inside of my vehicle out, and I had broke the trim off, and I could barely get the door shut, and my vehicle was dragging, in most cases, I was happy and it made sense. I did say most cases. Maybe that's another story for another day. I think I got somebody coming down here. I'm in the basement, hiding. I've got 7 other people in the house. It's hard to find a quiet place for going on 25 minutes. Okay, last one, feeling them out, asking for prices. Now, a lot of places you go will have prices on things. Some places you go will have prices on some things and not on others. A lot of places you go won't have prices. Another technique to, I would say, break people down, but it could also be warm people up. It could be you're showing interest in their things and it warms them up. But really, when I mean break people down, I mean you want to get over that wall that people have. People that are selling have been beat up. They don't like giving stuff away. They don't like it when people offer them lowball offers. They don't like feeling that they've been taken advantage of. They don't like it when people steal from them. They don't like it when people say bad things about their stuff. So there is a wall, and when you start saying hello, you start a conversation, you start asking them about their products, you start asking their prices. If you keep asking prices and you don't buy, they're going to start giving you lower prices because they want you to buy. How much is that? $10. Okay. How much is that? $15. Okay. How much is that one? $7. $7, huh? Would you take 5? Sure. The more questions you ask, the better rapport, the better deal, the better pricing, the better bundling. You also, as a buyer, will get an idea of who you're dealing with by how they present themselves, how they speak to you. Are they trying to sell you? Are they trying to get rid of their junk? Are they the one in charge? You're going to find out a lot of things if you ask 10 questions from somebody rather than 1. And asking prices on things, you'll get a lot of read on people. You'll be able to read that situation like a book after a while. Now, you may even want that first item, and if you do, and you ask how much it is, and you're not going to say, all right, I'll buy it, at least grab it and hang on to it. Because a lot of sales, you could say, how much is that? And the person says $10, and if you keep walking, somebody else heard that, and they're going to make a beeline to that thing and grab it, because that was a good price. So make sure if you really want that thing to grab it, and keep asking prices on other things. Now you know that the one in your hand is $10. If you keep asking prices on other things, you now have a bundle leverage piece in your hand. All these things either come to you naturally, if you're watching my show and you're experienced, they come to you naturally, or they don't come to you naturally. But if you start doing these and practicing these, they will come to you naturally. Wheeler walks into a situation, and some days he's more on and some days he's not as on, but these things come to him naturally. For me, an old man who's been doing this all his life one way or another, this stuff comes naturally. I can get a deal and leave friends with almost anybody. Win-win. Now, after I leave, they might look around and go, oh my goodness, that guy just took everything for a great price. How did he do that? I don't know. I'd like to find out if people think that or not, but they must, because, you know, we do really well. Man, I get wound up. Breathe, dealer, breathe. Good thing I'm a distance runner. I wouldn't be able to rant out like this. I did 2 miles today. It was 28 degrees with a wind. It looked really nice out. We had one stretch going into the wind. Oh my goodness, I thought I was frozen. I thought I was an icicle. I wondered why the heck I was out there. I broke my rule, don't run under freezing, but it looked so nice out there. With wind chill, it was probably 15 or 10. What some old guys will do for fun. Oh, I'm going to try to get out there tomorrow. That'd be 3 days in a row. That'd be good. I hope this talk has been valuable to you. I do read all your comments, and I've got some shows and topics lined up for future. When I come to a day off like this, when I sit and talk a topic, in order to give you all I have to choose one I'm interested in on any given day. So keep tuned, stay tuned, there'll be more. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all your comments and your thumbs up and your support. We do actually do better on the channel when you give us a thumbs up, so I appreciate that. We get a little more exposure. YouTube likes us a little bit more. They don't pay us anymore, but they like us a little bit more, and I guess that gives us some help in search results or something. At least that's what Wheeler tells me. I listen to everything that he says. Technology related. Thanks again for watching. Pick well. List often. Back soon. Back tomorrow with another vlog. Dealer out of here.
Hey, Wheeler.
Dealer Production.